We are talking fungus, also known as fungi. And this is a 2023 Swedish movie, very much in the vein of The Last of Us, obviously a popular streaming show based on a video game. And I suspect this is probably why this exists. Now, this takes place in a world that has been ravaged by some type of fungal outbreak. I think they say 6 billion are dead. And there are pockets of survivors. It primarily focuses on a group of survivors that are living in a bunker. And they're a mix of kind of scientists and security and maintenance and things. And they want to go to another bunker which is better kind of equipped and things like this, to try and find a way to fight the fungus, so to speak. So they kind of venture out, but along the way they encounter another group of humans that have seemingly found an alternate way of dealing with this kind of fungal outbreak by taking these kind of methamphetamines. And what will happen? You'll have to watch the movie and find out. So let's discuss. So you should know, if you're expecting fungal zombies or anything like that, this isn't this type of movie. In actual fact, the fungus barely features in the movie at all, if we're being completely honest. What does work in this film? I think it's competently put together. Now, interestingly, this movie has 4 directors and 4 writers. So there's a lot of input coming from various different people, but I think it's a competently put together movie on a technical scale. You know, it looks, it's well shot. You know, it's kind of like the technical elements are there. It's cinematography. It's all this kind of lovely kind of Swedish countryside and things like that. Things like sound design and all that. It's all, put together. I mean, it's not like super stylistic or anything. I don't think it really sort of is really creates much of a lasting impression, so to speak. But it's all very kind of functionally well, if that makes sense. It's all good. It's all good on a technical level. The idea of having this fungal outbreak, as The Last of Us demonstrated, is an interesting concept. And I like the idea here of having different methods of trying to deal with it ultimately. We've got the people who are trying to create more of a scientific method, and then we have this other group of people that have basically stumbled onto making this kind of like drug that does kind of keep the fungal infection at bay, but may well have other sort of side effects and health issues. So there's an interesting idea there, and 2 opposing sort of views, and inevitably there's differences of opinions. And in this new world, as with most kind of like zombie films and things like that, the surviving humans kind of get a little bit more, barbaric, you might say. So it's basically a kind of a look at the human condition, so to speak. And it kind of is a bit of a tale of survival, as our group of, protagonists are dealing with, the elements and various kind of threats, really. So, there's some interesting ideas, at least. However, I've got to say, this movie ultimately is a bit of a disappointment. So it's functionally okay, but I will say it's kind of dull and boring. The fungal element to it is it's barely in it. It doesn't really even register. It's kind of like just an excuse to have a kind of like 2 groups of people fighting. Possibly down to budgetary reasons, but I think the dangers of this fungus really don't seem particularly apparent, because we never see much of it. We don't see anything really of it to begin with, and we get like a little bit at the end and a little bit in the middle, but not a lot, you know. So it's like, if you're wanting to watch this for any type of, ooh, you know, that's an interesting concept with science fiction ideas, and you know how this fungi will attack you and take over your body, you barely get anything, barely nothing. The groups of, there's some story elements here, and I'm going to try and avoid spoilers, but we have these two groups, and this second group, I mean, it doesn't really, I mean, we don't really know how they've kind of just fell into this and kind of, and found it out and stuff, and because they don't seem the smartest group, to be honest. And then there's just some dumb decisions. I mean, this movie, I think, is trying to position itself to be some type of smart psychological science fiction movie, you know, but there's just some real like numbskull sort of decisions by characters or plot points in the movie. For example, we see various different points where some characters are wearing like masks with ventilators, but some other people in the same group are not. It's like, well, what's going on there? Or we have this, they're surprised to see, our group of protagonists are surprised to see other humans just out in the kind of in the wild, and they get attacked by some, and they kind of, one of the group gets killed and they run away, and then they kind of encounter other you know, humans, but they're never really that suspicious that they're the same group, if you know what I mean. And it's like, you know, we've encountered two different groups of humans who seem to be not having too much of a problem with this fungal outbreak. I wonder if there's a connection. I mean, they're a little bit suspicious, but you know, you would be like, this definitely seems like they're probably the same group of people. Let's talk about the acting. So this is a foreign language movie, but I gotta say, I didn't think the acting was particularly strong, if I'm honest. It's a little bit like hammy and overacting at times, or at least that's how it kind of appeared to me. It's kind of predictable. So, as a movie goes, it's not particularly entertaining. You know, it's put together well enough on a technical level. Maybe the fact that we've had 4 writers, 4 directors, too many cooks in the kitchen perhaps, and as such you've got a very sort of lackluster movie and experience at the end of the day, because there's no real like exciting decisions in it. It looks like, you know, a movie made by committee, which is what it appears to have been, and as such it's lukewarm, milquetoast, bland, not exciting. Even the kind of the action sequences we do get, you know, they're not brilliant. Characters are kind of weak. Overall, to be honest with you, this was a rather a disappointment. I'm going to give this one a 3 out of 10. Have you seen it? What did you think of it? Please do leave me a comment, and I shall look forward to seeing you next time. Bye for now.